This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather Ho there. It's Jeff Cutter and welcome you to the Sports Catastrophe on the stage. It's been a while, I know, but the rule is I do one event per day, but if I repeat myself, I can't find anything on a certain day, then I don't do it. Anyway, so it's March 14th, 1996. UCLA and Princeton are facing each other. UCLA is the 4th seed in their thing, and Princeton is the 13th seed. Now, a lot of people think the Ivy League doesn't belong in the NCAA's. Well, you would be fucking wrong. Besides, things could happen for a reason. And, it doesn't matter that way. It's a Southeast Regional in Indianapolis at the RCA Dome. Princeton faces UCLA. On the same day as the other game, there are 3 other games in Indianapolis in the Southeast Regional. Number 1, Connecticut beat up on Colgate 68-59. Eastern Michigan shocked Duke 75-60. Although Eastern Michigan was a 9 seed, Duke was an 8 seed in one of Coach K's not so good years. Mississippi State, the 5 seed, beat number 12 Virginia Commonwealth 58-51. Of course, that wouldn't be the last time you hear VCU's name in part of NCAA basketball lore. So Princeton took on UCLA. UCLA were the defending national champs after defeating Arkansas. To my 10-year-old annoyance. To annoyance of a 10-year-old. Anyway, so LA actually had some players from the 95 squad still left. Although Ed O'Banion would go to the Jersey Nets, and that Raptor fans wanted O'Banion and not Damon Stoudemire to be drafted. But the joke was on those Raptor fans, as Damon Stoudemire did win Rookie of the Year. So UCLA had Charles O'Banion, a.k.a. Ed O'Banion, Toby Bailey, Cameron Dollar, J.H. Henderson. So, some very good offensive-minded people. Princeton had only brought 7 players played for Princeton. Steve Goodrich, Chris Duvall, Sidney Johnson, Mitch Henderson, Gabe Llewellyn, Brian Earl, and J.B. Machilio. And I know I'm going to be butchering names. So, the winner would face Mississippi State in the Saturday games at Lexington. Well, in Indianapolis on their way to go to Lexington for the Southeast Regional. Princeton was not spring chickens by the NCAA's process. People say about the Ivy League, and they shouldn't get an automatic spot into the championship. That rhetoric was huge back in the 1980s. In 1989, Princeton, ironically enough, as a 16th seed, almost beat the number 1 seed Georgetown Hoyas in their bracket. They only lost by 2 points, although there was supposed to be a foul that was not called on Alonzo Mourning, I think. Or was it? Yeah, it was Alonzo Mourning. Regardless of that, Princeton, by only losing by 2 points, actually ended up making the NCAA fans change their minds and say the Ivy League could make upsets and all that. Princeton was known for having Bill Bradley, the legendary New York Knick/senator, as in senator of the U.S. Congress. Anyway, so Princeton wasn't tough against UCLA, national champion, they were 4th seed and all that. So anyway, Princeton doing their job with Coach Petey Carell, the legendary coach, and his slow down pace offense. Although there was a 35-second shot clock, Princeton would be known for unconventional plays and unconventional defense. And the unconventional defense worked out well. I mean, UCLA was held in check by Princeton's checking defense, if you will. And Princeton, although they can score, they were actually checking up with LA. So Princeton and UCLA were fighting tooth and nail. And the legendary Gus Johnson and Quinn Buckner were in Indianapolis. Gus Johnson had just kind of started out for CBS, so he wasn't really a household name yet by 96. But yeah, it was amazing how Gus Johnson called it. And then, the last few seconds, Princeton knew they were going to go backcourt. Everyone knew it. Gus Johnson knew it. Quinn Buckner knew it. Calling the game for CBS. But UCLA was trying their best. And in the shadow of the big John 3-6, or it's a John 3-3 banner being watch. If you watch the highlights of that play by Gabriel Wallace somehow got a backcourt plate, and UCLA was down 43-41. There was still time. They called timeouts. They went for a last set ditch shot, and it didn't work. And the Princeton Tigers had shocked UCLA and book a place in the second round. It was just amazing. UCLA just couldn't believe their luck and all that, losing 43-41. So, yeah, UCLA was favored by 10 points. Now, when it came to upsets, this was a gigantic upset of major proportions. 13 defeating a 4, which sometimes happens. Well, the same day on March 14th, 2 5 seeds went down. Number 5 Memphis went down to Drexel, 75-63, and Arkansas, who got in the tournament as a 12 seed, actually took down number 5 Penn State 86-80. I still think Penn State to this day is not really work jack shit in basketball. Sorry, but that's the way I go. The Cinderella run would end for Princeton as they lost to Mississippi State 63-41. So Mississippi State took down Princeton. But unbeknownst to everyone, the 5 seed Mississippi State Bulldogs would shock the world and win the Southeast Regional. Well, after they beat Princeton, Mississippi State went to the regional semis at Lexington, Kentucky, and beat number 1 UConn 60-55. They would beat the 2 seed Cincinnati Bearcats 73-63 to go to the Final Four in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Their Cinderella run would end as Syracuse would beat them 77-69. And Syracuse would subsequently lose to Kentucky for the title. And all that. So, anyway, that was just huge how Mississippi State used that to get to the semifinals. But, let's not forget, Princeton did their own Cinderella story. And that's why the Ivy League is good. And Gus Johnson said, that's why I like to call these games. And I think I'm going to like doing NCAA basketball games. Too bad CBS never retained him. Let him leave after 2010 or something. And then he went to Fox. Would have been great to see him do CBS March Madness games because maybe he's the new number 1 voice after Jim Nantz retires. But it's going to be Ian Eagle. Yuck. Anyway, I'm just having to do.